From Chattanooga, Tennessee to Roanoke, Virginia. From Barberton, Ohio to Billings, Montana. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Deaton and Doty. How's it going, everybody?
What's up?
Doing great.
Yo.
How's your week going? How's your week going, Christian?
And look at the shirt. Could it get any better?
I see that. He got it.
That's it.
So we had these shirts. Sleeve. Yeah, Talkin Truckin on the sleeve.
That's it. It's dope. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the love.
Yeah, we got those sent out. We have drivers picking them up when they come through the terminal here. So drivers out there, you got to come here. I'm not sending them to your house. We want to see you. We got a couple Christmas presents for you.
Tell Tom to send me up that way.
Yeah, you tell him.
Don't read between the lines, Kevin.
Yeah, you tell him. So joining us this week on the show, as you can see, Mike Doty, the original Florida man, is not with us. He is in the air, flying up here to Ohio so he'll be a part of our Christmas party this weekend, him and his wife. So Mike isn't here today. Also, Joel is back from his colonoscopy.
What's up?
So
Everything came out all right.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back, Joel. We missed you. And you can see on screen we have a professional wrestler, Gunnar Miller. We met Gunnar. Joel actually booked a load with his office. He's in logistics now. And so Robert Selby ran the load. And
now Robert has to wrestle Gunnar.
Yeah, Robert has to wrestle Gunnar. So Gunnar, thanks for joining us. We are going to do trucking questions with Kumar today. Wide World Sports with Joel Howell. Our drivers battle Kumar and trucking questions with Kumar. The Pick'em contest and the Beard contest. The Beard contest is one more week. Right, guys? Next Wednesday is the end. So
yes. The whitest beard wins. Right?
Yeah, the whitest beard. Kumar is going to get pictures like we did a month or so ago to get everybody's pictures of the update of what their beard looks like. Or, of course, in my case, no beard. But I'm paying the $150 like Lee did.
Hey, Gunnar, you want in for $150, bub?
Yeah, he's already got it.
I'm already here, man. I mean, am I winning or what?
So we'll be doing that. Before I get on to a couple things, the weekly Pick'em contest. So every week we pick the NFL games, not against a line or anything, just straight up. And so the loser who gets the least amount right has to pay our St. Jude's. Whoever they get Kumar in the trucking questions with Kumar, and they have to pay the pot if Kumar loses. The loser this week is Johnny 5 with 5 wins. Johnny, you've paid a lot lately, Johnny.
That's a sad performance.
Johnny had 5.
He just throws a dart. That one.
Ian had 7, right? Kumar had 9 right. Berkey had 10 right. Christian with 10. Didn't win this week.
Dang it.
I had 11. Joel had 12. And from all the way from San Antonio, Texas, Ray Nieto had 13. Ray, you're the winner this week.
Recount.
Yeah. So that gives
so
that's 1 win for Ray, 1 win for Christian. What else we got? 1 win for Kumar and 1 win for Ian. So you're all tied at 1 weekly win for the second half of the season. So it's wide open.
And Ray replied all, so we could all have copied Ray if we had confidence that he would have won.
Yeah. And Gunnar, so what we did was we did the first half of the season, which ended, I think, at week 9 or 10, and everybody paid $40. So we ended up sending Berkey from Schneider, who we do a lot of work with. What was it, like 400 and some bucks? Because there was like 11 or 12 people in it. Yeah, so he got a nice chunk of change for the first half of the season, and it's ongoing till the playoffs start. So somebody else is going to get a nice chunk.
That's pretty
in the
sweet.
Football contest, yeah.
That was a sad day for me. He beat me at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, you, Ray, and you guys were tied right there at the end. So that was.
Yeah.
So, a couple things. As I said, Gunner's with us. Gunnar Miller, linebacker at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga from 2010 to 2013, 4-year starter, saw action in 37 games with 30 starts at linebacker. one of only 5 with multiple pick sixes. I'm sorry. That's an interception return for a touchdown. If you don't know what that is, guys, one of only 5. 5 career picks at the University of Tennessee. Nicknamed the People's Captain, 2-time Anarchy Triple Crown champion, Dojo Pro White Belt champion, and WWW Heavyweight champion. Gunner, welcome to Talkin Truckin.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cool.
So I don't know a lot about trucking, Gunner. So
Wrestling.
I'm sorry, wrestling.
You're doing a hell of a good job, Russ.
Yeah, I'm pretending. But I don't know a whole lot about wrestling, but we did. So I've been watching over the weekend. I watched some of your matches and stuff, and we put together a little 30-second video, isn't it, Kumar?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Yeah. So Zach, can you throw that on the screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is Gunner. Little idea of the kind of, look at that. Now, this is one of the matches I watched right there.
That guy's live
And
on the
you beat that guy, didn't you, Gunner?
I did. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Look at that.
Like I said, Robert Selby, if you're listening.
This is great.
Oh, that's a good one right here. Oh, I should have let it roll through.
That's the spear, right? That was your finishing move?
Yeah, we can go through it. For the majority of my career, it kind of progressed as we went along, but yeah.
That was the jackhammer was next, is what I read.
Yeah, so we can kind of break it down a little bit, but it started out with the spear from my football background and my lack thereof knowledge of professional wrestling without me hurting anybody, because I was pretty stiff, I guess you could say. There's a bunch of terminology you can use in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
That you guys might not be aware. So if I say something, you're like, what does that mean? It's probably just pro wrestling terminology, but obviously in any industry you come into, you're green. Coming out of sports, I was more used to physical contact and initiating it, and always, pushing and pulling. But when you get to wrestling, it's a lot of like a dance. It's also physical, but you're protecting the person, so you got to learn that way of doing it. And when you're spearing someone or football tackling someone,
Goldberg.
I'm not used to pulling the punch a little bit. So
Yeah.
there at the beginning, I was having to be careful with that. So we started out with the spear, and then we went into another move that was almost like a crackback block that we called the pounce. And then I'm sure Joel knows about that. And then we ended up going to the jackhammer from there. But yeah, man, it's fun. Pro wrestling's fun. It was a smooth transition from football and kept me busy. But at the same time, I started go ahead.
So on that note, from football to wrestling, take us back, Gunner. So when you were a kid, when did you start playing football? When did you get into sports? I read that you played baseball too, and were pretty good. Yeah.
So I started let's go back to my sister, the real athlete in the family. So my sister is 17 years older than me. Mm-hmm. I may or may not have been an accident. And she actually went to UTC as well. She was a very prestigious softball player, first scholarship recipient at UTC, Hall of Fame at UTC, MVP of the first SoCon championship team at UTC. So she's the breadwinner in the family when it comes to athletics. And then I got into sports just being around it my entire career. I grew up at the ball field. So I started playing baseball when I was 4, started playing football when I was 6, basketball probably when I was about 8. And then through middle school, it was football, baseball, basketball. Mm-hmm. And then when I got to high school, I just wanted to focus on football and baseball because I'd use the winter to work out and to try to gain some size. So my best sport, personally, my opinion, probably anybody that would talk to you coming up in high school athletics, was baseball.
Yeah. I saw your name on some high school recruiting websites when I was checking out your videos this weekend. That's where the baseball came up. Interesting.
And the reason I wanted to do football was mainly because everybody said they didn't think I would make it in football. So my whole mentality is just one of those type of guys that you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to try to do it.
Yeah.
So I didn't even really focus on baseball my senior year. Didn't go to any like showcases. Quit playing. I played select ball from the time I was 11 until I was 17. Stopped doing it my senior year just because I wanted to focus on football. Ended up signing a scholarship with UTC. I guess they offered me in January of 2009. Mm-hmm. Coach Huseman came over, signed my papers in February.
Who was the coach?
Coach Huseman. So Russ Huseman came over. He played at UTC back in the 80s.
Joel,
Actually,
you know who that is, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought he did.
I don't even
Joel's,
know who UT Chat's nickname is. I was trying to think. Who?
Joel's like an
that's
encyclopedia
not
of
exactly
college
true.
football, any kind of football.
Well, if I'm off the air, maybe. But,
So I'll tell you this: Chattanooga is FCS football, so Division
Yeah.
1 AA.
Sure.
So the guys I actually work with now, and they'll be watching this and they'll appreciate this. The guys that I'm working with now, especially one of them, made a comment that that's not real football, right? He was like, "That's not even real football. Why would you even want to watch that?" So that's the ongoing joke over here. I didn't even really play real football. I just played Division 1 AA football. It's not, if it's not University of Tennessee, Michigan, Ohio State, it's not real football, right? Even
Well, we
though we
got
played
Akron,
Alabama,
so-
Auburn, we played Nebraska, we played all the big schools, but
Yeah, we got Akron and Kent State up here. I think the same.
Kent State's in a bowl, but Akron's won 3 games since 2018.
Okay, so we have a connection actually with Akron. So at UTC, when I was there, it was Coach Russ Huseman. He came over from Richmond. He used to play at Chattanooga. We pretty much changed the program. After my senior year, we won the SoCon, and then the next 3 years, they either won the SoCon or went to the playoffs. And then contract negotiations, he didn't end up staying. So we hired a guy named Tom Arth.
Oh,
And Tom Arth came in.
I know. I got to golf with Tom Arth. I went to. So you know who Ben Curtis is, the golfer that won. You might
No, I
not.
don't. Sorry.
Okay, he's from Northeast Ohio, so he's famous with us up here.
Yeah.
So Ben Curtis won the British Open, I think, in 2003.
Okay.
And then I got invited to a golf outing a couple of years ago at a country club here, and I'm a new golfer, so I was lucky to get the invite. Well, Tom Arth had just taken over Akron, and that was his first year there. So he was there. I had lunch with him and I think it was one of his coordinators.
Yeah.
Really nice guy. Anyway, I when you said his name, I had to tell you that.
So I'll give you the opposite side of that. I can't stand Tom Arth. I hate Tom Arth. Yeah.
That's
I
great.
think he's, if I
Chair
ever got
shot.
to use an air horn on this show, it'd be right here. He's a complete
Okay.
POS. When he came in, first of all, he never should have got the job.
Well, he hasn't won in 3 years here. He's won 3
Exactly.
games.
Yeah,
If you could, Gunnar, just tell us how you really feel. I feel like you're holding a couple things back. If you could just,
Yeah, no, I'm very opinionated when it comes to those type things. So, and I actually got into a
Tell
lot
us,
of trouble because when I left UTC, I was the only one out of like the alumni or anybody that had played recently that was very vocal about why I didn't like him, his style, what the type of camaraderie he's bringing to the team. He pretty much ruined everything that we had built over the past 8 or 9 years, and immediately had a losing season. Terrible recruiting. He took away everything, and his whole slogan was "our way." Like our way didn't get us, doing the right
Yeah.
things. His way came in and went back to the way it used to be in the early 2000s. Anyways, me and him had words. He banned me from the weight room.
Wow.
But it ended up being that I was right. He left in 2 years, went to Akron, and then continued to lose there, and then they fired him. So
Yeah, he just got fired recently. Yeah.
yeah.
ban you
So
from
I've
the
bet
weight
against him.
room?
Talking about gambling, I've bet against him every single game that he's ever coached for Akron, and I'm up
He's a
a lot.
millionaire
I'm
now.
up a lot of units. In case you wanted to know, that's the way to do it.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
So-
I remember at the lunch that we had, I sat actually right next to Ben Curtis. It was a big table, and I didn't know anybody there other than the one guy that invited me. But yeah, he was talking a big game. That was his first year that they had it was his first year coaching there, and they hadn't done anything yet. He was just putting together his staff and his team, and
Hey,
he was
good-looking guy.
definitely. He was real tall guy, kind of long neck. Yeah.
Yep.
He was definitely talking about how they were going to change the culture there and they were going to win. And I think Joel, they won one game that year, or maybe not even one that first year.
Yeah, Akron,
Yeah.
like 2 games since 2018. Not too
Well, I think they've beat 2 FCS schools and maybe 1 Division I school, like in their conference. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But
That's
yeah, man.
fun.
But he looks like the coach from Friday Night Lights, the TV series.
Coach Taylor.
Yes, Coach
Yeah.
Taylor. So I think that's his claim to fame. And he's friends with Peyton Manning. He was Peyton Manning's backup. So that's the reason why he even gets coaching jobs.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Well, we have a little connection in football around here. On episode 5 of our show, we had Louis Vasquez on. I might have mentioned that to you the other day, Gunnar. Louis Vasquez won the Super Bowl with Peyton and those guys with the Denver Broncos. and his cousin is Ray, the one driver that's on here that before we started, you saw him on screen. So that's how I know Louis. Louis told us his story too about how he came up in football, and it was really cool. So you have to check that out too sometime, the episode 5.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you got when you're playing college football, you said you broke your neck.
Okay, it sounds a lot cooler than the way I said, I guess.
Sounds like it hurt.
What I did, my redshirt freshman year, which was actually my first year playing, and then my sophomore year, my redshirt freshman, my junior year, my senior year, I hairline fractured my C5, C6 vertebrae. So pretty much what that means is there's a nerve that runs down through here, and that nerve is going to work your delts. That nerve is going to work parts of your bicep, your tricep, parts of your forearm, and a little bit of like your grip. So the first time it happens, have you ever played football or fell down or like had a stinger? Do you know what that feels like? Okay, so I used to get stingers all the time. And the first time it happened, it was actually on a missed tackle against Elon at UTC. I shouldn't have missed the tackle. I got back up. I was pissed off, and I hit the pile after the play was over like an idiot because I shouldn't have done it anyways. Yeah. Well, my arm went limp, which is nothing crazy. It's happened all the time. So I tried to play the next play. Arm never came back. So I went to the sideline, and I'm just sitting there waiting for it to come back. Well, a quarter goes by. Arm doesn't come back. 2 quarters goes by. We go into halftime. They give me 2 shots in the butt. It still doesn't come back. So I take my shoulder pads off, helmet off. Into the game happens. Fast forward, 6 months later, my arm still doesn't work. Like it's just not working. So we're going through therapy. They're putting me through all these tests, trying to figure out what's wrong. And then eventually it slowly starts to come back. Like it's already atrophied. Like this arm's big, this arm's small, and it's a nerve damage. And when you stretch your nerve, it's like so many millimeters, so many centimeters that it's stretched is about how many months it takes for it to actually repair itself on its own. You can't do anything about it unless you like rip the nerve, then you can kind of go in and surgically repair it.
Yeah.
So that happened. So I missed spring, came back, played the next year, had to wear a big neck roll, limited me. It was miserable. I hated it. I looked like Bobby Boucher out there from the Water Boy. Everybody made fun. Literally, I'd come on the field at practice. They'd be like, call me the Water Boy. So that was embarrassing. And then my junior year, I thought it was kind of fixed because I played my whole sophomore year with that big neck roll because it, I guess, limited me from getting stingers. And then my junior year, I wanted to go to a cowboy collar so I could have a little bit more flexibility and be able to play a little bit better. And then 7 games into the season, same thing, except it was my right shoulder. It went out, but it was only out for like 2 weeks. So I went through spring, did it again, went for my senior season, last play, App State. I didn't wear anything on my neck that year because I was tired of it. I was going to go out on my shield. Last play, 4th and goal, tackle for loss, face planted on the ground, both arms out, can't get up. First time I ever had to be picked up off the field. That was my last play. And then that came back about a month later. And then I had to go through spinal decompression treatments after that was over through December, January, which I would do that 4 times a week. And that's pretty much where they lay you on a table and they pull your neck apart. And then they want to throw some blood flow in there and do the whole ice and stem. And that pretty much cured me. So I wish I'd have done that 3 years prior. But
is that where the doctors told you, hey man, this is a good time to go into professional wrestling?
Right.
So here's the thing. Right. So my senior year, I was getting recruited by Gerald Briscoe in the WWE because they come after athletes to do the performance center thing because that just started coming around like 2013, 2014. And I was also a big guy and I would paint my face like the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know if you guys, I know Joel, but I don't know if you guys know who the Ultimate Warrior is.
Oh yeah. I remember him.
Paint my face up like the Ultimate Warrior. And this is when he was kind of coming back around, getting a big presence on YouTube, doing motivational speaking. And I sent him it was me power cleaning, breaking the power clean record at UTC. And I kind of put a little Ultimate Warrior thing in there. And he found it on Facebook, shouted me out, and then like reached out for my number, got my number, and stayed in contact with me every week from my junior, senior year on, actually my sophomore through my senior year. So he kind of helped me get involved there with Gerald Briscoe. So I had a tryout lined up for January or December, somewhere around there after my senior season. Well, I hurt my neck and I couldn't do it. So I called him. I was like, hey, just had a little bit of a neck injury, nothing major, but I'm going to need a little bit of time. When can I come? They said, you got till June of 2014. So that's when I went through the spinal decompression, got as healed as I possibly could. And then I was pretty much back to normal by February, trained for a few months at D1 sports training. Then I went down to the Performance Center in June. Got there. As soon as I got there, they tested everything, told me no. So I missed the whole first day because they wouldn't clear me. Had to have my doctors clear me from Chattanooga, send in all my faxes, all my paperwork with my neck, all the x-rays and stuff. So I got to do the last 2 days. Not trying to make any excuses, but I don't think going in there with a serious neck injury was probably the best way to try to get signed. But obviously that's not the excuse. It was a great time. It was really cool being around all those guys. There's guys that are, one of the girls that was in my class, Liv, well, I guess that's her name, Liv something.
Live Morgan,
Anyway.
something like that.
Yeah. So she's with, she's like on the main angle right now on Raw or SmackDown, whoever it is. Liv Morgan. And then, and then Josh Woods, he's actually in Ring of Honor now. He had signed with them too. And my roommate down there, Dustin Mueller, he had signed for a little bit as well, but he got out of it. Now he's just a cop up in Illinois, I believe. But yeah, it was fun. And then I just started pro wrestling from there, stayed in contact with them and slowly lost contact with them over the years. But hit the ground running as soon as that was all over. Straight from broken necks and football straight into pro wrestling. Probably not smart, but, we did it.
So there's a couple notable names. B.J. Coleman, Buster Screen, which, I'm a Browns fan up here, and I was born and raised in Cleveland, Gunner. So I know who Buster is. Plays with the Titans now, actually. Davis Toll from the Saints. You played college football with these guys. Was there a time that you were thinking before, maybe not wrestling, but that maybe pro football, or did the neck injury have anything to do with you not going that direction? Or
I'll say this. I'll say that, my whole life growing up, I always wanted to be a professional athlete, whether that was a football player, baseball player, or a pro wrestler, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching it when I was 6 years old. You had guys like, it was perfect timing. It was right during the Monday Night Wars of, WCW and WWF. Yeah. So it was the perfect time to be a wrestling fan. When I got to college, obviously that was probably my redshirt freshman, sophomore year. It was all, I want to play football. I want to try to do this thing, especially when I went from being a guy that wasn't heavily recruited in football to, signing like a partial scholarship, getting there within a year, being the guy that was on the red shirt squad that actually got to travel with the team just in case he was going to have to play. And then the next year being one of two freshmen that were actually starting on the team, getting a lot of playing time and playing well, getting a little bit of an injury and kind of set me back a little bit, but that just didn't bother me. But it was when I started, I guess, playing a gimmick a little bit on the field, trying to stand out, trying to, get my name out there and be the face and all this stuff, that pro wrestling kind of came around with Ultimate Warrior and Joe Briscoe. And I was like, wait a minute, I might not be the guy that can go out there and be a linebacker in the NFL at 6 foot, 230 pounds, but I can definitely go play wrestler at 6 foot, 230 pounds. So my mindset shifted. My senior year, I honestly could care less about football. Everything that I did, when I found out I had a tryout at the beginning, I found out the day we started fall camp that I had a tryout lined up the next year. I was done, man. I was checked out. I was ready to do wrestling.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool. So from the gridiron to the top of the ropes.
Yeah, well, I stayed off the top ropes as much as I could. I did a few things up there, but I tried to stay on the mat for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Gunner, tell us about this. Was fascinating. On one of your videos, I saw you were cooking in the morning, and you were telling your viewers about your schedule, which is completely nothing like mine. But I thought it was fascinating, and I know that takes a huge commitment. So how's your day start off? What time?
Okay, so I can tell you how it started when I was wrestling, 3-4 nights a week and doing logistics when I first broke into logistics and wrestling. Then I can tell you how it is now because it's completely different. But when you're trying to balance I called it the dream and a career. So the career being logistics is a great career, and the place I was working was a great company, and I pretty much learning from the ground up. I started out track and trace all the way to brokering to sales. So I did a little bit of it all, and we did emergency freight too for FEMA at my other company. So if we had hurricanes hit, we'd be working 30, 60, 90 days in a row all the time for FEMA. So that was crazy. But during that time, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would travel and wrestle. So I'd be anywhere from, one loop would be Washington, D.C., Tampa, Atlanta, Nashville, Chicago, New York, pretty much Charlotte. That was kind of my loop. Very rarely in Chattanooga, always in Atlanta. And if I wasn't in Atlanta, I was flying out of Atlanta to one of those places and coming back and finishing the weekend there. And then I would get home. I'd leave out Friday night, usually to Atlanta, wrestle a show, fly out to wherever I'm going, wrestle a show, fly out to wherever I'm going, wrestle a show, get back in early Monday morning and go straight to work. That was my schedule for, let's call it 2015 to late 2017, early 2018. And then I blew my knee out. But during that time, to stay in shape, because you're half naked in front of people every weekend, not just sitting behind a desk, right? I would I'd try various diets. I've always been huge into health and fitness and trying to, aesthetically look pretty pleasing and try to be as big as possible as well. But when you have that, man, you got to wake up at 3:30 in the morning to be able to be at the gym by 3:45, 4 o'clock. Then you try to get the gym done. If you're lifting heavier, doing bodybuilding, whatever it might be at that certain time, you're finishing up around 5:15, 5:36. Then you got to go back home. You got to get ready. Now you're cooking. And then you got to eat a lot of protein to hold a lot of muscle. So that's miserable. And it's first thing when you start the day is steak and eggs, steak and rice, whatever. You're eating pretty much the same stuff all the time. And, I walk around 6 foot, 230, 240 pounds when I was wrestling all the time. Sometimes I'd even get up to like 250. I mean, that's a lot of protein that you're having to eat. And then supplementation, making sure that's all on. Also, your sleep schedule is terrible. You're sleeping 2, 3, 4 hours a night. And then you might have one day off a month on the weekend and you just crash, or I would just take a day off during the middle of the week, like, hey guys, I'm sick. And I would just sleep all day. So it was a crazy schedule because then you'd work all day and then you do the same thing at night. You go hit the gym, you'd be doing wrestling training, you studying film on your next opponent, or you know how logistics is. Sometimes you're in the office till 8 or 9 o'clock at night trying to book a load that nobody wants to take because it starts out in Maine's going to Phoenix, Arizona, right? So
yeah.
Which is a really good run right now.
Yeah.
You could sell that.
Anything right now for the most part. But yeah, man, it was very interesting to try to juggle that and figure that out. And then also I was probably terrible with my finances at that time too, being straight out of college, not really having any money, to now getting paid a decent paycheck, but a salary and maybe every now and then a bonus. And then you partying quite a bit too. So let's not forget that. I mean, pro wrestling lifestyle, logistics lifestyle. When I wasn't pro wrestling or traveling or doing logistics, I was out drinking. Let's be honest. And we'd be out drinking all night from Wednesday, Thursdays, whatever it is. So it was a tough lifestyle there for 3-4 years. I didn't even really understand what I was doing. But that's all slowed down, man, since I'd say late 2018. Not the same schedule. So I blew my knee out middle of 2018. I believe it was, middle of 2018. And then I took some time off. I was just kind of burnt out with wrestling. I had just got named the PWI, which is Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the Sports Illustrated of Pro Wrestling. One to watch. I had my own article in the magazine. I was really excited about that. I was wrestling really high-end shows. I mean, I was literally traveling like Chicago to New York to Tampa, back home to work. Like I was in the best shape of my life. Everything was clicking. Kind of blew my knee out a little bit, which, no big deal, whatever. I was just going to rehab it, rest it, come back whenever. But during that time, with so much time off, because I'd never had time off my entire life, I think I went through depression for the first time ever. I don't know if you would call it depression. I mean, I'm usually the type of guy that's like, not even a thing. But I think I'm looking back on it, maybe I was, just because I didn't have anything to do. I mean, I couldn't really walk. I couldn't work out really. I couldn't do wrestling. I wasn't playing a sport. I wasn't rehabbing for a sport. I didn't have anything to do. I wasn't really, dating anyone. Like I was just kind of by myself for the first time ever, living in a small apartment downtown Chattanooga. And I think I went through like a little bit of a depression type thing. And then I ended up meeting who is my fiance now. And we pretty much hit it off and we've been together ever since. But during that time, everything started to change. I wasn't really worried about wrestling anymore. She had a little boy. He was 3 when I met him. And, all my focus went towards him, went towards work, more towards sales, more towards career driven. I mean, like your mindset kind of changes when a kid comes into your life.
Sure.
And you feel like, you got to grow up real quick and maybe pro wrestling's not the thing for you anymore. So I was doing that. And then a bunch of things started happening in pro wrestling. It was like I don't know who the pro wrestling fan is here, but like the new age pro wrestling bubble, which is AEW and WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan, like all these promotions were signing guys. And that hadn't been a thing in years prior. Like you had WWE. If you didn't get signed by them, you weren't making any money unless you went viral for some reason on the independent scene. And that was really hard to do. And I wasn't one of those guys. So I felt like if there was ever a time for me to get signed, it would have been around that time. And the guys that I saw getting signed, it confused me a little bit, knowing that we run the same shows, we're on the same circles, not trying to be like that guy, but it's like, I was pretty much the main event at every show that I went to because I looked like a wrestler. A lot of these independent guys didn't really look like wrestlers. They were cool and they had charisma and, they'd pop the fans and people liked them. But as far as looking like a person that should be on TV, I stood out that way in certain regards. Mm-hmm. And I see these guys getting signed that were like 5 foot, look like middle schoolers, and they're making these 6-figure deals on national television programs. I got a little upset about that. So literally I hadn't even been doing anything with wrestling for almost 18 months at this point. And I'm on Facebook and I write this thing out on Facebook, and it's something along the lines of, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life and blah, 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 blah. You can look it up. You can, if y'all want to edit it in and put it up here, it's hilarious. So I went viral on the internet for the first time ever in pro wrestling for something I said on my personal Facebook page, 18 months of no wrestling, because I kind of bashed this guy, Marco Stunt, who just got signed by AEW for being 5'2", 115 pounds. And that being what a, professional wrestling promotion wants to sign over a 6'1", 230 pound Division I athlete who's been busting his ass.
And your profile says 6'2", 241, just in case you want to know the stats online about you.
Yeah, they're completely wrong. I'm 6 foot. When I have my wrestling shoes on, I'm 6'1". So there's the real life right there. So and 241 sounds good with 6'1", 241. It just sounds rolls off the tongue good. Pro wrestling's all fake, man. So I said that went viral all over Twitter. Everybody pretty much canceled me for the most part in the woke mob. And then I was like, I'm done with the wrestling. This is ridiculous. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm fine in my career anyways. Well, then my girlfriend at the time, Tia, her little boy Marcus, he's a huge wrestling fan. So now I do it once a month for that kid, strictly. That's the only reason why I wrestle. I go out there. I wrestle really good guys that are on AEW, guys that have been on WWE. I mean, Matt Riddle, I've had really good matches with him. He's a main event guy.
That's the match we watched in here in our office yesterday. Was Matt Riddle? Joel.
Is he like that in real life?
So yeah, that is not a gimmick. Like he plays the stoner, right? Plays the pothead, the California guy. That's kind of his deal. Well, he got kicked out of the UFC for failing a drug test for marijuana. So that's not necessarily not true. But he's just a very slow talking, drawn out, surfer type sounding bro. But he's from New Jersey. Like he's not even from California. He just plays into the gimmick, and he's very intelligent, very smart. They make him seem like an idiot on TV, but he's not. I mean, I'd say other than Brock Lesnar, and he might even be, I don't know, that'd be a good fight. He beats everybody up in the WWE. So I mean, him, Brock, Bobby, those are the 3 tough guys.
Do you get called? I know you do. Bobby Roode. Yeah.
So actually, Rick Michaels is in not Canton, Georgia. He's in Gainesville, Georgia, which is where AJ Styles is from. AJ Styles came from the same place that I grew up wrestling, Anarchy, in Gainesville, Georgia. Yep. Well, Rick Michaels makes a lot of the gear for the guys in WWE, and he was the promoter booker at that place, really close with Rick. Rick makes the stuff for Bobby Roode. And literally me and Bobby Roode, where like he makes his trunks and he makes my trunks. Like we're this pretty much the same. I've heard it forever. It's the beard. Yeah. White guys with beards, man. Everybody calls us the same thing.
Beer money. That was his team.
Yeah. Hey, he's in great shape. I'll take a Bobby Roode comment all the time.
Right. I was gonna say that's Bobby Roode.
So Kevin and Ray, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you're
Nate, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, so I got some pretty good sized drivers, Gunner, and we were going to challenge you to a tag team match. I'm putting up my guys.
Jablonski.
I'm going to put up Ray and Nate Garner, and you pick your guy, and we'll see if we can put something together. But we're going to bring our own ref. We're bringing Jim Mackey as the ref.
All right.
He's also on here, one of our drivers.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
We thought that would be great.
His partner is Brock Lesnar.
We were thinking
Yeah.
along the lines of
We'll
Butterbean.
tag him in. I'm just gonna let him do everything, and I'm just gonna sit there and laugh.
Hey, Russell,
I was
can you
thinking-
put me on your insurance first?
Yeah, I was thinking of coming, like when when the ref turns away, when Jim Mackey's reffing, he turns away. Maybe I'll come sliding off the top rope and help my guys a little bit.
And
We'll
an
get-
object from your trunks.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, pro wrestling's really fun, and it's not fun because you get to go in there and pretend to do moves and beat people up, and you might win or might lose.
yeah.
It's the crowd. I've played
Get into it.
the biggest crowd I've played in front of is Nebraska. You're looking at 95,000 people. I've been to Alabama, been to Auburn. I was always injured during those games, of course, but actually play in front of a large crowd was Nebraska. It's like our second game of the season, my sophomore year.
I was talking about wrestle
That's-
in front of a large crowd.
Super exciting, right? To be
Yeah.
in front of 95,000 people, you're jacked, adrenaline's going. My first wrestling match ever was in front of about 700 people. And now everybody's chanting my name. It was in Chattanooga. I was more jacked, more adrenaline dumped from that than I ever was playing a high level sport. And then
Yeah.
you go travel these other places where you might only be in a crowd of 250 people, but it's an extremely small building and it feels like thousands of people because everybody's just, they're into it. They're emotionally
Well, plus,
invested.
Yeah, you're not a team either. You're you.
Right.
So you're getting all the love, the attention,
And I never played, I never was a wrestler. I never was, a tennis star or a golf star. I never played individual sports. Everything I've ever done is a team sport. So to do that was a little bit different. And the crowd, man, just the kids, that was what made wrestling fun. Like I said, the only reason I'm doing it now is because of my fiance's little boy, Marcus. And
yeah.
I will continue. I asked him, I said, man, can I quit? I'm busy, man. Like we have to leave out on Fridays and get down there to Canton, Georgia and do this. I'm tired. He goes, nope. I was like, all right, well, you tell me when I can quit and I'll quit when you tell me.
Well, we have a driver that worked for us for a lot of years, and he came off the road, so he's not with us anymore, but friends of a lot of our dispatchers in the office. And his wife complained to me, and I was never really into wrestling. I watched it as a kid, but I'm never really into it. And his wife said that on her anniversary, he got him front, like courtside or ringside seats to something like some big match or whatever, and she was complaining because that's what she got for her anniversary from our driver because he just loved wrestling so much. And you know who I'm talking about, Joel.
What's the anniversary present?
It was Travis. But yeah, we got a lot of drivers that love wrestling, and in our office, I mean, we these guys like it. Joel's loves it.
I'm a sports fan.
I don't
MMA.
like the product
like
on
it lately.
TV as much as I used to.
Right.
I like the late 90s wrestling. That's kind of my deal. The Attitude Era is what
Yeah.
you call
Legion
it.
of Doom.
Yeah, a lot of
TNA.
people like the 80s wrestling, like the early 90s WCW, late 80s, early 90s WCW. A lot of people like that. This modern wrestling, not really for me, but I'm a big fan of the big superstars. The Rock is my main guy. Probably in any part of life, to be honest with you. If you're not a fan of The Rock, I don't know why you wouldn't
Yeah.
be.
The Rock says.
So I think out of all the guys that came from wrestling, I just have to say he's by far the most inspirational, most motivational, especially when it comes to business and being able to transition and charismatic. That guy's hard to beat, man.
Yeah. Well, speaking of business, so you've made the transition. You're into logistics now. You mentioned briefly a little bit of what you were doing. So how do you like that? I mean, how do you like being in trucking, and how's it? Has it been good to you so far?
Yeah. So what's crazy is, so the guy that I started working for was Lipsy Logistics. You heard of those guys yet?
Yep.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
worked with them.
So Lipsy Logistics, I had no clue what logistics was. I came out of college. I was pretty much an idiot. All I'd ever done my entire life was play sports. Came out of college, and a buddy of mine I went to high school with, his dad was a president of this logistics company. I didn't know what it was. BJ Coleman actually was working at Lipsy Logistics at this time. My buddy Nick Davison, who played at UTC, was working there at this time. My buddy Johnny Jones, the younger one, was also at Lipsy. So I went to go eat lunch with those guys. And they're like, hey, come into the office. So I come into the office. This is 1 week prior to me going to the WWE Performance Center for my tryout. I just came back from D1. I'm literally in a tank top, sweaty, disgusting, walk into this mall where there's a building and there's an office in there, and it's a logistics company, 20, 30 people or so. I walk in and I see Johnny Jones Sr. And he's like, what are you doing here? I was like, well, I'm here to eat lunch with BJ Coleman and my buddy. He's like, that's awesome. Do you want a job? This is pretty much how this went. Do you want a job? I'm about to do this WWE thing. I don't know. What is this? He's like, logistics. I was like, and that is what?
You got to wear a mask.
He's like, man, you could make good money in it. You're a good person. If you want a job, let me know. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. So, I go do the tryout. I come back the next week. I'm working at like a nutrition place. I give Johnny a call. I'm like, hey, man, until this tryout thing, I'm getting feedback in like 6 months. I'd love to have that job. He's like, sure, come on in. Come into logistics, start tracking and tracing. So I start tracking and tracing the exact week that I had my first pro wrestling match. So logistics and pro wrestling go hand in hand with me. It's hilarious. And then, started tracking and tracing. About a year later, went into brokering. About a year later, went into I was doing like procurement stuff, projects, pricing. That was 2014. So about 6-7 years later, after being with Lipsy, I decided to kind of go off on my own. Not that there was any hard feelings there. The way I explain that place is that it's the best logistics university you can go to if you've never been in logistics, because you're going to do the hardest freight possible. They're going to work you extremely hard. You're going to learn as much as you possibly can about the industry. There's great guys there that have tons of experience. And then if you soak all that up and you go somewhere on your own, you're going to be prepared. So I got the opportunity to come over here and do sales with a startup. Came over, brought on a pretty good account. This place has grown from, about 3 million when I came over to about 6 million in that February to December timeframe, that first 8-10 months I was there. And then this past year, we're going to do right at 17 million at the end of this year. And, a lot of that growth has came on this end, and the operations team's doing a great job. We're very lean. We're an operation that's less than 15 people. We've got a small sales team now. We've got a pretty small operations team. Not too many hands in the pot when it comes to ownership, and everybody seems to get along, and there's plenty of growth here. So, logistics is crazy.
So the name of the company is 12 Point.
12 Point Logistics.
12 Point Logistics. And that's how we, like I said earlier, that's how we ran into Gunner. And it was because Joel happened to book a load for Robert Selby. And we ran that about a week or so ago. And I don't know how it happened, Gunner, but between Kumar and Joel and Zach and Ian in here in the office, they figured out who you were.
Yeah. I think Hogan works for TQL now.
Ian creeped and found him.
Ian figured it out.
Yep. He said his name sounded like a wrestler, so he looked him up.
Yeah. So
well,
that was pretty
I'll tell you
cool.
what, my name's on every rate con that goes out from my accounts, so I'm glad it was. I get to meet you guys, so that's pretty cool.
So hang around with us. We're gonna get into some trucking questions with Kumar right now.
All
if
right.
you got time, hang around, see if you can answer some of these questions too.
I've got about 15-20 minutes. That's about all I've got, but
that's all you need.
Can I run 2 or 3 quick questions by him?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just yes, no, whatever.
Yeah.
The biggest man you've ever picked up or slammed?
Biggest man ever picked. So my finishing move, we never got to it, but it ended up being the jackhammer. Why? Because this is not going to be yes or no. I'm sorry, I'm very long-winded. But
it's all good.
I studied every professional wrestler that had a football background. So I would pick a move from each one of those guys that was a top guy, and I would want to do those moves out of respect of the gridiron to the squared circle, right? So obviously Goldberg's one of those guys. Spear jackhammer. Well, I ended up going to what you'd call a pounce jackhammer, which is like a crackback block into a jackhammer. So I wasn't like stealing him, move for move.
Right.
But the biggest guy that I ever picked up and actually successfully did the jackhammer, which I never attempted anyone and couldn't do it, but his name is Cyrus. And Cyrus wrestles out of Georgia. He wrestles now over in Japan. He's a very large human. So so shoot means real, like it's not
400
fake,
pounds,
right?
huh?
So his shoot weight, Cyrus's shoot weight, he's probably 6'3", 6'4", maybe, right, with boots on. He legit weighs right at 400 pounds. And if he cuts down, he's 360. All right. So he's a very large, he looks just like Vader, just like Van Vader. They use him like Van Vader over in Japan. Great guy. But he's the biggest person that I actually performed a suplex on, which is pretty cool, especially jackhammer because you hold it up in there.
I hope he didn't land on you.
Have you ever used any cool objects in a match? Chairs, bats, tables, barbed wire, fire, any of that?
Tax.
Yeah, I mean, I've used. Obviously, we've used tables and chairs and like kendo sticks. I got beat up really bad with a kendo stick by one of my really good buddies. Like I had whelps on me for almost a week. And,
It's fake, man.
Yeah, but I'd say the craziest thing that, because I'm not real big on like the death matches or whatever, even though I have buddies that are. I had one of my buddies staple a picture of himself on my chest and then sign it during a match with like a slap. So that was probably about as wild as I get.
Anybody ever tell you look like Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind, otherwise Mick Foley, just from like ear down?
No,
I'm not sure if it's the beard, but when you first signed on, it was like a little bit of Cactus Jack in you.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've never heard that one. I usually hear Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
That's about it as far
He's
as
the
me
dude
know
with
if he's a
8-pack,
manager.
right? He has 8 abs that show at all times.
Yeah, a couple more than
Yeah.
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the last one is that a Grant Cardone 10X a hat on the background there?
Absolutely. Sure
Okay.
is. Are you a Grant Cardone fan or no?
Little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so our sales team goes through Cardone University. I'm a huge
Okay.
Cardone supporter, so it sure is.
Sweet. All right, good. That's it. Thanks, Russ.
That's great. Christian
Yeah, man.
always as observant, always like that.
Midnight
I-
stalking. It's my thing.
Point
Yeah.
that out. I don't even see
cool,
what he's
man.
talking about.
Yeah.
Where the hat is, Joel?
Yeah, where's the hat?
See the number
behind
10
his
on the
shoulder.
shelf.
Yeah.
Oh, I
There it
There
is.
you are.
Let's put it on the screen real quick. There it is.
There you go.
knew what he's looking at.
Yeah. So, Joel, you got anything for Gunner before we do trucking questions with Kumar?
We could talk wrestling all night, but how long the show? No. Thanks, Gunner, for coming on. I was going to tell. You probably don't know who the Fabulous Freebirds are. I was just going to tell a story real quick.
Yeah, I do.
You do, yeah. They had the muscle in the gang was his name was Terry Gordy. He passed away years ago, but my friend and I and my mother nearly gave him a ride to the airport in 1983 before technology. He was hanging out after the show. Thought it was pretty cool, but no, that never happened.
So Terry Gordy's son, Ray Gordy, came up with the guys who trained me in pro wrestling. So Ray's right around here in this North Georgia, Chattanooga area as well. I think he's actually like a sheriff down there in North Georgia somewhere. So
truck driving and
that's
wrestling
all.
go
That's
hand
all
in
around.
hand.
Hand in hand, trucking and wrestling. Joel's from that area, Gunner. He grew up down that way. I don't know where exactly in Georgia, Alabama area, but right on the line somewhere, right, Joel?
For a little while. I lived in 8 different states.
Yeah.
little
But
bit
Joel and I went to truck driving school together. We teamed together. Then eventually he moved into the office with me. And we've converted him to a Browns fan and Ohio State Buckeyes fan.
Bama fans, if you're listening,
Yeah.
the coach's mentality thing is still in effect. I've
So-
lived in Gainesville. I've lived all over, man.
Where's your mom live, Joel? She lives down there still, right?
She lives in the Auburn, Alabama area.
Auburn, Alabama, yeah.
So you just follow Urban Meyer around? You live in Gainesville?
Nope.
Yeah,
you go to
that's
Ohio
exactly
State,
what he
up
does.
there. Going back to Jacksonville now?
No,
He'll
he
probably
ain't
be
get,
somewhere else.
well,
soon.
he's not going to be there long.
not a bad
So
idea.
That's what I'm saying. He'll be somewhere else
He
soon.
was at that nightclub with him too.
He'll probably be coaching with Tom Arthur pretty soon.
yeah, right.
Playing golf.
That's
Right.
great. So, trucking questions with Kumar. Joel, you got your
Yeah,
questions
yeah.
ready? This will be kind of funny.
All right, we're going to move through this.
Joel's
pretty
even going to
quick
sing
here.
a song on one of the questions.
I don't know. I was going to wrap it, but no.
So, drivers, Johnny 5, Ray, Kevin, Nate, you guys here? So how we do this, Johnny 5 has to pay the St. Jude's pot because he lost the pick'em contest if Kumar loses. So Johnny 5 has Kumar, and I have the drivers. So
I don't
Joel,
even get to answer this week.
let's go.
All right, you ready?
I'm
Are
ready.
you ready? Question 1. What percentage of blowouts
right.
could be
I
prevented?
can't hardly hear Joel.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about now?
There you go.
What percentage of blowouts could be prevented if tires are kept properly inflated? Is it A, 20%, B, 40%, C, 60%, or D, 80%?
Kumar,
Let's go 20%.
20%. Drivers, you got an idea?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 80.
80%,
I
Ray?
can't hear Joel very good.
He said
All right,
what
I'm gonna
percentage? Yeah, what percentage of blowouts could be avoided if you kept proper tire inflation in your rig?
I went backwards. I'll keep my answer.
So, yeah, that's your final
He
answer.
drives around with a
Kumar.
flat tire.
That's locked in.
20%, 40%, 60%, or 80%?
80%.
Ray said 80%. What do you say, guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 80% also.
Yeah,
It's 80.
80. What do you think? You agree with the drivers, Gunner?
I do agree with the drivers. I don't believe in percentages really. I mean, where those come from? But yeah, I'd say 80%. I mean, you got 20% for things that you don't know what's going to happen.
Proper and tire inflation is important, especially hauling 80,000 pounds down the road. And Joel, I don't know the answer. Is that right? But that's what I'm leaning towards.
That is correct, yes.
80%.
80%.
So,
Yeah.
guys, when you're doing your pre-trips, check your tires, man. Put a gauge on it. Make sure you got proper tire inflation. All right, so 1-0 drivers.
All right, question 2. True or false? During winter weather, it is safe to use your Jake brake. True or false?
All the time, right?
Hold on.
It's false for sure.
False.
It's not safe at all.
Not
You
safe
got
at all.
experience, huh, Kumar?
Yeah. No, I think
his
I'm pretty sure
Subaru.
we did this question.
We did?
We did?
I think we
Yeah.
did
Well,
months ago.
in a different way, but I was just watching that video earlier. So
Yeah.
Cheater.
I'll stand corrected.
Kumar got
Oh
it.
wait, never mind. That's good.
Yeah.
The Jake brake
Good
slows
job
the
on
truck
cheating.
down.
Depends
Only,
what state you're in, Russ. We could go there again about Florida. But that's all right.
Right.
The answer was
Inclement
false.
weather is the answer was. Yeah.
And that's what I always, I was told that when I was driving, don't use your Jake brake in bad weather. All right, Joel.
All right.
What have you for
Question
your trolley brake?
I wasn't going to go there. I don't do that either, especially on bridges in the winter. Especially for my driver. She got her trolley brake stuck and had to get somebody to come never mind. All right, question 3. True or false? A good practice when climbing a grade in the winter conditions is not to follow the tracks of other trucks going uphill. True or false?
Drivers give Kumar a chance here to get it wrong. So should you follow the tracks of other trucks when you're going, what was it, uphill, Joel?
Yeah.
Uphill,
Should you follow
Or
the
should you
tracks?
make your own?
I'd probably say make your own. Probably give you more traction being in the softer snow, right?
What do you say, drivers? Should you follow those tracks? True or false?
True.
True.
Yeah, true.
I would.
What would you do in a regular car?
Yeah.
Start driving?
Oh,
Yeah, you're
Come on,
right.
Kumar.
I'm
Make
just
me
trying.
look
I'm going
bad.
for like the less obvious answers because I feel like
If I'm not mistaken, whenever you're following the tracks, that area is actually warmer too, causing the snow not to ice up, right? Or not to freeze.
Well, friction would cause it to maybe
Friction?
melt a little. Yeah.
Compression
So-
creates
Yeah.
ice, but whatever.
The only
Okay.
time I went to follow the tracks is they made a sudden move.
Right, or if they disappeared.
So what's
Yeah, right.
In this read, they're recommending that you do not follow the tracks,
Really?
that you make your own tracks, because other
Really?
trucks will have polished up the road
So,
as they travel.
I'm curious, and Gunner, Jim Mackey's been on the road for 40 plus years. He's an old school driver. Jim, what's your opinion?
Well, I would probably follow the tracks.
Me too.
But here again,
Depends on how bad
if
the
you
ice is.
go off into the snow itself, you get more traction instead of following the tracks that would possibly be ice.
Yeah.
You
So that
know?
makes sense, maybe
that's
uphill.
that's a give or take question.
Yeah.
It all depends on the feel.
We're trying to
of it.
beat Kumar here.
If you feel that it's slippery or stuff, go make your own tracks. But
Yeah.
if you're feeling good when you're on it, stay there.
Right.
You don't
good
like my
advice.
tracks? Go make your own.
Make
Yeah.
your own interstate.
All right.
Basically, what I'm trying to say.
We got
All
a
right.
couple questions left. One of
Basically,
them
I could
Joel's
use
gotta
some
say.
help with these questions.
Yeah, let's go, Joel.
All right, question 4. If it is freezing out and the pavement looks wet, but no spray is coming off the mud flaps ahead of you, this could indicate A, all conditions are fine, drive on. B, dry ice. C, black ice. D, oil spill on the road. Or that's it. A, B, C, or D.
Kumar?
Black ice, for sure.
Kumar says black ice. You guys agree with him? If it could be mud flats, but I always remember if you don't see the spray coming up from the tires of the truck in front of you, any kind of spray, then you know you're going to be on a slippery slope there, black with stuff. What do you guys say?
Glossy.
Yeah. That can also apply to your own truck as well. Doesn't have to be the truck in front of you.
Well, but you're not seeing the back tires of your own truck. I'm talking about the truck in front of you. You see the spray coming off the tire from the road.
I can see the spray coming off the tires of my truck.
So,
For
I agree.
My tires, if there's a car behind me with headlights,
Yeah.
Black
so I think
ice.
they got that.
All right, so was it 2-2?
Yeah. So here we go. Tiebreaker.
All right.
All right, well,
This
guys,
is it.
I want to apologize in advance. This is not
So
my idea.
We got Joel singing this one
This
here.
is not
my
singing.
favorite.
This is
Last
two
question.
guys talking.
All right. Give it a whirl, Joel.
So in 1978, there was a movie called Convoy and a song by C.W. McCall called Convoy. And my best Southern accent, breaker 19, this is the Rubber Duck. You got a copy on me, Pigpen? Come on. Ah, yeah, 10-4. Pigpen, for sure, by golly. It's clean, clear to Flagtown. Come on. Yeah, that's a big 10-4 there, Pigpen. Yeah, we definitely got the front door open, good buddy. Mercy sakes alive. Looks like we got us a convoy.
Lovely.
Was it dark of the moon on the 6th of June in a what? Pulling logs. Kumar, was it A? Was it a Freightliner? Was it B? A Peterbilt? Was it C? An International? Or was it D? A Kenworth? What was pulling logs on
What
the
kind of
6th
truck
of
was he
June?
in?
I'll go with Kenworth.
He'll go with.
Was it a Freightliner? Was it a Peterbilt?
He said
was it
Kenworth.
a Kenworth?
Final answer.
Or was it an International? Say Kenworth?
Yeah, Kenworth.
Okay, he
final
says
answer.
Kenworth. Drivers, do you have any idea? I know you know the song.
Peterbilt.
It was the dark moon on the 6th of June and a Kenworth pulling logs, a cab over Pete with a reefer on and a Jimmy hauling haul.
There you go,
could've
Nate
just had him do
Garner.
it.
Look at this. Hey, you're not allowed to read and drive. The Google.
That's great. He's parked.
All right.
He's probably not reading
So
it
much for the
anyway.
next
I
question.
know that one's
So
hard.
you're lucky, Johnny Five. Kumar actually got that one right, so that's
Yes,
3-2.
Kumar.
Yeah.
So I have to pay the St. Jude's pot for the drivers this week. So you can check that one down, mark it down, Kumar.
Sorry, guys. I'll try to wrap.
Better luck
week.
next time, Russ.
We're gonna play Sugar Hill Gang.
It's terrible. I can
So,
use it.
couple-
questions.
I want to tell you guys a couple things. Load to truck ratio this past week. Van 5.46 loads to one truck. Reefer 9.04 loads to one truck nationally, and flatbeds 44 to one truck. And that's capacity's dropping a little bit. The average spot rate on van, according to DAT last week, $2.93 plus fuel. Fuel surcharge this week was 46 cents a mile. It's down 4 cents a mile, the average since Thanksgiving in van. Reefer national average 327 plus fuel. Again, add that 46 cents a mile for fuel. And then that's down 13 cents a mile since Thanksgiving. And then 256 plus fuel for flatbeds. And I think we all know flatbeds, you're going to, this is the time of year. There's less loads. You're taking away that construction market. We're seeing it on our flats and steps. It's not as easy to get the kind of money we were getting, a few months ago. But there are loads still. There are loads. Doty? Doty wanted me to mention something. He's, like I said, he's flying here. Doty wanted me to mention that his mom watches the show. And she called him the other day, and she said, "Hey, I have a question for you about the Talkin Truckin show." She goes, I didn't know you guys talk about reefer a lot, and I didn't know that do you guys haul that?
Yeah, Matt Riddle does.
Doty was dying laughing. He called me. He's like, my mom actually thought we haul reefer. Like,
That's the reason rates are so good coming out of
that's
California,
why it's
right?
so good, right?
That's a Florida man question for you right there.
Keep it cold.
So for Doty's mom, we do not haul reefer. It is refrigerated trailer, and we do haul food in those. So sometimes plants, but not that kind. So anyway, I thought that was hilarious. Gunner, I appreciate you coming on with us. I know you said you had to get out of here soon, so whenever you want to hang around with us a little bit, we're gonna talk a little more trucking. But we thank you.
Hey,
yeah,
I appreciate you guys, Deaton, Joel, Christian, drivers. You guys stay safe out there. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Love to come back on.
And we'll have you back. And you know what? We'll get Kumar to get with you, and we'll get you a Talkin Truckin shirt and get you one down there sent to you. So
absolutely. If you guys like trucker hats, I have a podcast of my own. It's Chat with Gunner. Yeah. I'll send you some hats if you guys want them. Just let me know and address to send them to, and I'll get them to you.
Anything goes through Kumar with the show, and also we can plug your Kumar. I'll get it together for next week. We'll start plugging whatever you need us to plug for your podcast.
Yeah, that's Chat with Gunner, right?
Yep. It's on YouTube. It goes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff too. But
gotcha.
Mainly
next
YouTube
week is Ric Flair. We're gonna bring
yeah, right. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you.
Thanks, Gunner.
Thanks to meet you.
Have a good one, Gunner.
Yep, too.
So, Christian, what was what happened with your overweight ticket or?
I'll pull that up real quick.
Screen
share. Let's see.
What state was that in, Christian?
Great state of Virginia.
The Commonwealth.
So we got a call from a driver and saying, "Hey, I think this load's overweight." And I said, "Okay." And the rate kind of showed 30,200 pounds. They were off just a little bit.
Oh wow.
So he left and he ran into the scale before he ran into the, a cat scale to get it fixed. So if you look at there, somewhere in this vicinity, you'll see the maximum allowable weight, and then you see the amount over the allowable weight.
What?
So he was over 100,000 pounds when he got pulled in. He was right. He was over, and he knew he was over. And then you look at go ahead.
What was the load? What was the load supposed to weigh?
It was 30,000.
Oh, okay.
30,000 pounds. Yeah.
30,000.
Yeah, I think they put two loads on him because it was like 30,200 and 30,200. So put him at like 60,000 some odd pounds on the trailer. And you know, he knew he was squatted and having a problem. He's like, I just figure out how much when I get to the cat scale. Lo and behold.
That's one thing, Christian, too, is that's happened to me before. And even when you know for a fact you're overweight, they're not going to take your word for it until you go hit that cat scale and bring them back a ticket. Yeah,
they said, look at the bill of ladings. Yep, absolutely.
So what happened when he got pulled in?
So he got pulled in. They obviously discovered the weight on the scales. They probably thought their scales are wrong at first, but it was 20,700 pounds that he was over.
Yeah.
They proceeded to make sure that they gave him an overweight citation with the 20 cents per pound damage rate on it. And if you look in the bottom left on the assessment, the civil penalty and processing fee don't look so big. The liquidated damages of $4,140.
Wow.
He's on the hook for that?
He would be. The cool part is, without hesitation, the broker took care of it. I mean, one phone call, hey, you get me the scale. It's absolutely on our shipper. It's not on your guy. We understand that the scale's on the other side from where he was coming from, and they added it to the rate confirmation, took care of it right away. So that was clean. It was a little hard to pay that bill, though. You know, it's like, man, there's a lot better way to spend money than this. But
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I just thought I'd share that because it's it's something that you run into.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that wasn't on the driver either, because you're
me too.
You're in a rock and a hard place when you're leaving, and you got to get a cat scale ticket, and unfortunately that's in the middle.
Yeah,
I know, Christian, you said you had to go.
And sometimes
you got a meeting.
Yeah.
We're gonna get onto some sports and stuff, but Christian has a meeting. He's got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So we are falling off quickly.
All right, love you guys, man. Thanks.
We'll talk to you next week, Christian.
You got it, guys. Be safe out there.
Later,
all right.
man.
Yeah, later.
So, Joel.
Yeah, you want to finish up some sports?
Yeah, what's going on in the wide world of sports?
Might as well, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's do some sports. Let's talk some football. Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at Week 14 NFL standings. Congratulations, Ray. You edged me out. Picked the Rams. Thought for sure. Thanks, Arizona. I needed that second win.
I didn't tell Ray that he won the pick'em until on the show tonight, so he had no idea. So good job, Ray.
He just throws darts.
He does. Ray doesn't watch much football.
NFL standings, Week 14, AFC East leaders: New England 9-4. In the North, Baltimore 8-5. In the South, Tennessee 9-4. In the West, KC 9-4. In the hunt in the AFC, LA Chargers 8-5. 5 teams with 6 in the loss column. Over to the NFC in the East, Dallas 9-4. North, Green Bay 10-3. In the South, Tampa Bay leads 10-3. Out West, Arizona leads at 10-3. In the hunt, 5 teams with 7 in the loss column. 3 games left. That means it's wide open. Stay tuned. Over in NCAA bowl season begins this Friday, the 17th, with 44 bowl games scheduled this year. Besides the big ones, New Year's Eve, of course, Alabama versus Cincinnati and Georgia versus Michigan. Some of the bowls this season to be named are as follow: the Bahamas Bowl, the Cure Bowl, Boca Raton Bowl, LA Bowl, Myrtle Beach, Famous Idaho Potato, Gasparilla, First Responder, Guaranteed Rate Bowl, the Fenway Bowl, Pinstripe, the Cheez-It Bowl, Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl, the Quick
I love
Lane
Duke's
Bowl,
mayonnaise. It's
the
the best
Military
mayonnaise.
Armed Forces Bowl, to name a few. Bowl season starts this Friday. Over in the NBA, out east, top 3 teams in the league: Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Chicago. Currently, Cleveland at 4th. Out west, top 3: Golden State, Phoenix, and the Utah Jazz. Over in the NHL, you hockey heads. In the east, Atlantic, Florida Panthers. In the Metro, Washington Capitals. Out west in the Central, Minnesota Wild. And out in the Pacific, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. I had a bunch of wrestling stuff I was going to cover here with Gunner.
He said he'll come back on, save it.
All right.
You can get with him next time on that.
Did you mention the Barstool Bowl?
Does the Barstool Sports have a bowl game now?
Did I not?
Yeah, they do. It's on.
Sorry about that, Dave Portnoy.
What is that? New Year's Eve. Scott Stapp from Creed is doing the halftime show.
He's a quarterback?
Yeah. So that'll be interesting.
Browns need a kicker. Scott Stapp.
Yeah, speaking of sports and quarterbacks and
COVID.
Yeah, so drivers, did you know I'm a Browns fan, but the Browns, like 14 starters are out for their game against the Raiders this week, so they're taking tryouts. So if you think you can kick, pass, or punt, stop by the Cleveland Browns Stadium and maybe give it a whirl for this weekend's game. They need guys.
That's just the Browns.
We should have told Gunner that. Maybe he could have helped him. So, Joel, what else?
Yep.
Do you have a couple more things there in sports?
No, I was going to go over the. No, not really.
Okay.
No.
Good. All
Kumar?
right. Yeah, no. So I wanted to mention a couple things. Jim Mackey, Ray, Kevin, Nate, did you guys hear about that driver that do you have that, Kumar, the information that Ian gave you about it?
The one that got sentenced to 110 years?
The guy got
I-
sentenced to 100
Down
years.
the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really unfortunate all the way around scenario. I mean, I think what I read was they gave him so tell us about it, Kumar. What
Give me one. I gotta find it on my.
So basically, the reason he got so much time, I think, was because he had the option to take a runaway truck ramp. He said his brakes weren't working.
Yeah.
He never took a runaway truck ramp, and
minimum mandatory sentence.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's horrible. You know, how many people died? Four people died.
Yeah, 20. Oh man.
I just thought it was important.
28 vehicles.
28 vehicles, but he was going 85 miles an hour down the mountain. 85 at the time of impact. And you know,
It's
go ahead.
44 miles down that hill.
Go ahead, Nate. What'd you say?
I was just going to say, did they get him with 4 counts of vehicular manslaughter?
Yeah.
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 That was in there.
42 counts, including
42.
vehicular homicide, first-degree assault, attempted first-degree assault, reckless driving, and careless driving.
Yeah, he had no record.
And you know that I've always, when I drove, and I know you guys have felt this before too. We've heard of stories like this over the years, and but that was one of the scariest things for me, thinking that I could, get in an accident and I could go to jail because of, I'm trying to do the right thing, and I maybe the guy should have took the runaway truck ramp, but I can't help feeling sorry for the driver. I know he didn't intend to get in this accident. You know what I mean? It was an accident. And I'm not the judge and the jury and all that, but I couldn't help when I read that, just feeling empathy and emotion for the driver.
Well, I can understand what you're saying, Russ, but you also have to understand one thing. When you come out of the tunnel at the top of that hill, it says it's 44 miles downhill.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody knows that when you come down that hill, you're coming right into the Denver metro area.
Right.
If you've got a brake problem, why would you not take the runoff ramp?
Well,
that's the knock.
We don't know.
He passed, I think, multiple runoff.
Oh, yeah,
ramps.
there's plenty of them.
And, I mean, there's no way he couldn't have known that because his brakes were smoking, according to witnesses, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
I'm not saying he's not at fault. I'm just saying I feel sorry for the guy. It wasn't like he's a killer, went out to kill people. It happened as a result of the mistakes he made as a professional driver, and I feel sorry for him for that. I feel sorry for the families of the people that passed away too, but you can't help but, in my opinion, I can't help but feel sorry for a guy.
It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't intentional. He didn't do the right thing in his job, and it cost people their lives, and ultimately it's costing him his life.
Yeah, he's 26 years old right now, so I mean
22. Whatever it was.
He's young. I know he's young.
It happened in 2019, so he's 20.
Yeah, he's probably got a family too, and
I mean, that's why I wanted to bring it up. We have to think about that. Let it be on your mind for a minute, and think about that when we're out there, when we're doing our pre-trip or when we're going down the road. We got a pretty good fleet of guys that are very cautious of their speed and all that. But man, that hit me in the face when I saw that. It's sad all around, especially from a driver's perspective.
Yeah, I'm pretty fresh in this industry now, but I've been thinking about it all week.
Yeah,
it kind of I don't know how to feel whether he should get that much time or not, but I guess just the fact that his whole life is gonna be thrown away. That freaks me out so much. Just a mistake. And I mean, yeah, there were some preventable measures, but he was also young and probably inexperienced.
Yeah, well, there's a certain amount of experience, guys, you have to be the captain of 80,000 pounds coming down one of those mountains. So you got to know these things.
Well, that's one of those hills you don't mess around on either.
Right.
I mean, I can remember on Thanksgiving, come out of the top of the tunnel there and have nice clear skies. And I hit every form of weather condition there was until I got down into Denver.
Yeah.
And snow and ice, freezing rain, and then rain. And you just it's not a hill to play with.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially with the metropolitan area right at the bottom of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When you come down the bottom, it's right there. You're in traffic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a question. Are those the charges he's facing, or
no?
Have
He's
they
sentenced.
convicted him?
That was in 2019. Yeah,
he's sentenced. He's gone. They took him to the big house.
Wow.
Yeah. It just jumped out at all of us this week, being that, A, I'm a driver, B, I'm in this industry, and I just felt really, really bad, just like you did, Kumar, for this guy. I know he's a young guy. He's probably my son's age. It's just, we got to take our job, and I know you guys do. I'm not talking to my drivers here that are on the show. I know you guys take your job serious and your safety serious and the safety of the public serious, but it's just to have a fresh reminder to any driver out there that when you push in those brakes and start going, that you need to think about that. It's just tragic all the way around. So, any other news, Kumar, that you picked up this week? Ian's not with us. He had some a
happy
funeral.
hour, did he?
Yeah, a funeral to go to. So
call it
he's
hour.
not with us. But Kumar's got some news. A couple more things, I think.
Yeah. So, trucking company Central Freight Lines is to close after years of loss. So they have about 1,200 trucks. So there's going to be a lot of people unemployed because of this. So yeah.
Oh, who was that? Central
Freight Lines.
out
of Waco, Texas.
Refrigerated?
That's that's the yellow trailers, if I'm not mistaken, because they have a terminal in Cleveland.
No, that's Central Transport.
Oh, you're right.
Red trailers.
Red trailers. Okay, so this is an over-the-road company.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that. Another article I got here, this Ian sent me. The National Guard is a backup plan now for the LA port congestion. So,
What is it?
They will...
So they're getting the National Guard to help.
Yeah, to help out with getting all this...
some of the containers off ships from drifting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have studied a little bit before. I didn't read these articles very well.
Can you pull up the map that he usually pulls up to?
Yeah, let me...
National Guard's going to drive the crane.
Click on that keyboard 1,000 times for me.
Yeah, so...
Well, that would help. That's good. Get some of those ships that are just drifting out there into these ports. Everything I'm hearing and reading, it's going to take at least a year to get this even under control. So, yeah.
It's good news for us.
Yeah. Well, we need our stuff. I got some stuff on back order right now that's probably sitting on a ship drifting.
Shop small and you won't have that problem, brother.
I think as a driver, this is a good time to try to use this opportunity for what the rates are. Get out of debt, store away, put away some cash, and I don't know, just be ready for anything, man. Because
there's a couple things, Ray. So the backup of container ships sitting out there, it helps the market in California a little. I mean, it helps it a little.
Yeah.
That's not the reason that for the last 2 years that the trucking rates have have come up, and we went through a really bad few years before the pandemic with the freight market. And it's starting to balance out a little bit. It's not just because. So I want to make sure everybody's clear. It's not just because of the port congestion out there. Things are balancing out with
there's many factors
as a whole. Yeah, so all over the country, things are balancing out.
Yeah.
What threw a wrench into things was when everybody took a run on the toilet paper and all the stuff in the stores when the pandemic first started. Yeah, that caused a crunch in things. But at the same time, things were starting to correct itself a little bit in the trucking market, and that's where we want to keep it, where it's a balance. If you want our equipment, we want a fair price. We want everybody to win, but we want a fair price. Because at the end of the day, we're the consumer too. We're the ones buying the stuff that goes on a truck, so.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I was saying that, because at some point we know that there's going to be a correction in the market. It's down the road. I believe we got about another year at least to this, but at some point there will be a correction. And correct me if I'm wrong, Russell, but I believe when I first started with you way back when, the average rate was about between $1.30 and $1.50 a loaded mile. And that was
Probably.
pretty. We survived on that.
Yeah,
we maybe a little higher, but pretty close. But we survived. We survived on that, and trust me, when the market corrects, there's gonna be a lot of people falling out, complaining that they can't make money.
Yeah.
And I think that's where being ready. That's why I say put away some cash, get out of debt while we can, while the money is available. Because when people fall off the market, we should be able to capture some equipment at least.
Yeah, and over the years, hey, we've been through Mackie. You guys, Ray, you guys have been through this with me. We've been through some tough freight markets where we learned to make it, and part of that was slowing our roll, saving as much as we could on fuel.
Go long.
Going a little longer so you're not hitting docks and getting detained and everything, and we made it through that. We weren't making a killing. We made a living, and and
we learned to survive.
And sometimes that's what it's the ebb and the flow of it. Sometimes you have to.
One of the things I was reading an article the other day about is that one of the major problems is the and take away our logbook because
something about the logbooks.
And this is creating one of the best.
You're kind of losing you, Jim. What'd you say about the logbooks? Let's try it again. I think
what he's saying is the mandate on ELOG too has helped out raising the rates as well.
So the dock times, Jim, is that what you said? Yeah, I think we lost him.
He's gone.
Oh, expensive the docks. It's the problem.
I think he's in the tunnel.
I think he's falling into a black hole.
Yeah. We'll wait for you, Jim, to get your signal back, and you can jump in here and let us know.
I feel the same way about those docks.
Yeah. Yeah. Dock time, it can be a thing that can kill you if you're hitting a lot of docks and you're late or detained or whatever. But yeah,
I lost everything. I'm back now. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Say that again. There we go. There you go. Much better.
So I lost my signal and they come back again. What I'm saying is, I was reading an article the other day about the time that a truck spends at the dock and chewing up in our logbook because of the ELDs saying that we can't, it's losing our 14 hours. This is one of the major causes of our supply chain issue right now.
Did it say in there, because I've read a bunch about that, Jim, did it give you a number of how much money is lost in the trucking industry?
No, I did not see that.
I don't have that on the top of my head, but it was like.
Thank you, sir. Did you get a copy?
It was millions and millions of dollars.
Did y'all get a copy for yourselves?
Every year.
I was wondering if you.
We didn't get a copy, Ray.
Hang on. Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know the number, but I think Ian might have mentioned it on a show before. But it's millions and millions of dollars a year that's lost sitting at a dock burning clocks or getting detained. So, and we've all said it on this show before, getting some kind of better option, or docks that detain us, have some financial responsibility versus, more than just, paying a small amount of detention. So, I don't know.
But that
was brought up too.
What's that, Johnny?
Put in the Raycon that your detention time is $500 an hour.
Oh, there's times that we've told people that, and you know what? You can say that, but they're just going to load another truck. They're not going to agree to it. So, I don't know what the answer is. We've talked about that before, but it's not right. And I'm definitely with Joel and with you guys on that something needs to be done, with detention and just getting detained, and they don't care. They don't care if they run your clock out. But
they blamed it on the truckers for how long? And now they're finally doing studies and realizing it's not the trucks.
Right.
It's the docks.
It's the docks. Yep.
So it'll get straightened out someday, but it's not in the near future.
It's for the robots.
Yeah. Joel's idea was to get robots on the docks. We need to let Elon Musk figure that one out for us.
Yeah, forget the truck.
Nestle Water actually uses robots in some of their locations to load trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny 5 is alive.
Yep.
Johnny 5. So Johnny, before we get out of here, you just switched trucks. What'd you get? What's your new truck?
So I came out of a 2018 579 Peterbilt with a mid-roof, 48-inch sleeper, and now I'm in another Peterbilt 579 mid-roof, but with a 72-inch sleeper. So it came with a fridge and actual cabinetry.
Oh, it's a
I'll
big
definitely have
improvement.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely have to send you guys some pictures. I even got a top bunk, but that's all going to be storage because I don't run teams and I don't have anybody to ride with me on the truck. So, well, I got Fred the Minion. I'll send you a picture of him too.
I've seen it actually.
Oh yeah,
but-
that's right. I think
yeah.
I sent it to you before.
You did. Send the picture of your new truck to Kumar, and we'll have him put it up. And yeah, you guys, before we get out of here, make sure that you're safe out there on the road. Christmas is coming. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I think we have one more show before Christmas, and that's where we'll end the beard contest. Also, AC, our driver, has said that. So just whoever's listening out there, we've been raising money for St. Jude's. We're up over $1,500 already. And just what Kumar's added up, and that's not counting. We got a bunch of people that said they're going to donate that we haven't even added that in yet. So that's without our drivers donating. So listen, we're gonna hound you a little bit. I'm gonna ask you to donate. It's for St. Jude's. I put up money and we're gonna write a big check to them. But man, it's one of the best causes there is, and we've all been through a rough time. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's lost people to COVID or had a rough year with stuff like that. But I'm thankful that I'm still here, and these little kids that St. Jude's helps and their families that they help is so important. And I'm really glad that Christian came up with the idea to make our donation for our charity to that. So over the next week and a half or so, we're going to make our donation right after Christmas. We're going to get everything collected. It'll be probably right around the 1st, 2nd of the year. But I'm going to probably text you, call you, and ask you to do something, whether it's $5, $10, whatever, $20. If everybody just throws a little in, it's going to go a long way. And AC, our driver, said that for every Deaton driver that donates, or anybody employee in the office, what was he going to match? He was going to match
$5 for every 50 that a driver donates.
For every $50 that we collect from any of our drivers, I guess in total or whatever, he's going to match $5. So it could end up him paying $200-$300 real easy. We did the math and showed him, so that's cool. Thank you, AC, for doing that. And other than that, man, you guys have a great, safe week. We'll be on next week, ending the beard contest. Truckworx Kenworth of Dothan, Alabama, Over the Road Apparel, Prime Wellness and Performance, Al's Quality Market, the Gator Drive-Thru. I told you they donated $125. Did you add that on there too?
I did not.
Yeah, I got to pick. Carol's going to pick that up from Mike here in the next week. And then Kumar, be sure to like and subscribe to what?
To Talkin Truckin on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Talkin Truckin without the G's.
Without the G's. You've been doing a great job, Kumar, with the social media stuff and the new stuff that's put out there. I'm not on all those things, but I've been able to watch them through either other people or, myself on that TikTok ones are great. So, all right, guys, have a great, safe week, and we will talk to you next week.
Yep. Be safe, guys.
Go Browns, go Guardians, and go Cavaliers.
Go Indians.